my fellow readers, is I, Dark Symphony 777, back with another fan fiction reading. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video. Excuse me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, and leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story. So, the episode I'm doing a reading of is this the first Super Koopaling special episode. Why Starlit Duck decided to call them special episodes? I don't know. But this story is actually supposed to represent her first anniversary of writing fan fiction. So I thought I saw these while just browsing to grab all the Super Koopalings episodes. So I thought, why not? All right, let's get into it. Acting in the Arena, Chapter 1. It was 10 o'clock in the evening. At least, that's what Iggy theorized. He wasn't actually looking at the clock. Instead, he was looking at his new invention. He had been working on it all day, yet it still was not anywhere near close to finished. Granted, this was the first day they decided to work on it, but still. As he inspected it, he noticed that it had a screw loose on the bottom. So he decided to take a screwdriver and hastily drill the screw deeper into the groove. Iggy didn't turn around when he heard Ludwig's voice. He just kept on screwing as he heard Ludwig walk down the stairs. "Can't talk, busy," Iggy said. "Busy on what?" Ludwig asked. "On a new invention," Iggy replied nonchalantly. He pulled the screwdriver away, finally satisfied with how tight he had made the screw. He opened a drawer to put the tool away, making it blend in with all the other junk that was hiding in his desk. Why would you want to blend in? Probably because of Kamek. Because Kamek needs to clonk on him. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Iggy, it's almost 11, Ludwig said. So apparently Iggy's estimation had been incorrect. You need to get to bed. "I will be in a minute," Iggy said as he picked up the invention again. What the hell? Is it still? Is it? Okay. For a second I thought it wasn't recording. Oh, back this. Okay. I legit thought it wasn't recording. Okay. Ludwig, I will be in a minute, Iggy said as he picked up the invention again. Ludwig placed his hand on Iggy's shoulder, prompting him to turn around. He looked a little frustrated, but thankfully not so frustrated that his pyrokinetic power started to act up. "No, you will do it now," Ludwig said. "Iggy, you're always telling me to get a good night's sleep. Just because you're not a special doesn't mean you got to be a hypocrite." Iggy looked into Ludwig's eyes. He noticed worry in them, highlighting the dark circles underneath. Iggy then realized how selfish he had been acting. He himself could not get a restful sleep while he was worried. How could he expect Ludwig to? "You're right. I'm sorry," Iggy said with a sigh. He has one final look at his invention. "Just let me get cleaned up first." Ludwig smiled. "I think I can help you with that," he said, using his telekinetic powers. He put all the supplies as well as Iggy's invention back in the proper place. Iggy smiled gratefully at his older brother once he had finished. "Thanks," he said. "No problem," said Ludwig. "Now go get your butt in bed, and don't you dare try to come back down here in the middle of the night." Iggy laughed. "Don't worry, I do not foresee that coming into fruition," he said. Ludwig smiled at him and flew out of the lab. Iggy allowed his bespectacled eyes to roam around the room one last time before he went over and switched off the fluorescent overhead lights. With that, Iggy went into the hallway and made his way towards Beth. It was only when he got there that he realized how tired he was. He was so tired that he didn't even bother to brush his teeth or to take off his glasses. He just crashed into the bed and got to snoozing. And what proceeded was, quite frankly, one of the most bizarre dreams Iggy has ever had in his life. Dun dun dun. Oh, dramatic gasp. Couldn't resist. It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining on the land and highlighting the colors. The wind was playing rustily across the landscape. I suppose the only thing that could be seen as a slight problem was the giant Stadium of Death floating in the atmosphere. To be fair, Iggy hadn't known the giant Stadium of Death yet. He was too busy snuggling in his cozy bed. Iggy heard a familiar voice say to him, "Wake up." Iggy snuggled deeper under the fuzzy comforter. "Just 5 minutes. I promise I'll decode the matrix later." Iggy then felt a heart flash of pain travel across his cheek, indicating that he had just been slapped. He sat up in bed and put his hand to the hot, throbbing streak. "Ow!" he exclaimed. He opened his eyes to get a view of the person who had the audacity to do such a thing to him. However, since he didn't have his glasses on, all that he could see was a really was a fuzzy blob of warm colors. Iggy, get your glasses on. We need your help, said a smooth, melodic voice. Oh. Iggy did as he told. Once he was able to see clearly, he gawked at the person who was standing by his side. It was Celia Patch, a human Koopa hybrid who the Koopalings had traveled to the Bean Bean Kingdom with. Celia, he asked the fiery-headed, red-haired hybrid in shock. Where are you? There's no time to explain, Celia said in an urgent huff. She grabbed hold of Iggy's hand. We need to get you outside. Why? Iggy said, asked slightly disoriented. I told you, we don't have time to explain. You're wasting time explaining to him why you can't explain to him now. Makes no sense. But then again, this is a dream. Nothing makes sense in dreams. Don't worry. You'll see what the problem is as soon as we get there. Now Iggy was beyond confused. Exactly what's going on. Last time he checked, Celia lived in a sewer in the Koopa capital, which is about 5 miles away from Bowser's castle. Whatever the reason why she was here, it had to be important. Together, they raced down the halls, Celia gripping Iggy's hand tighter than a lobster. When they finally got outside, the first thing that caught Iggy's attention was the fact that all his siblings were already there. Their backs turned to them, and they were staring up into the sky. Guys, Iggy said, what is going on? Iggy's siblings turned to face him. They looked a little frightened. You mean you haven't seen it yet? Asked Wendy. No, what are you talking about? Asked Iggy. Wendy pointed up at the sky, and that was when he saw the floating stadium of death! It was so big that Iggy wondered how he had missed it. If he wasn't shocked before, he was definitely shocked now. What is that? Iggy asked. Beats me, Larry said with a shrug. Well, it looks dangerous, Iggy said. I suggest that we do something about it effective immediately. You're right, Iggy said Ludwig. That's why we are ready for you to come down. Ludwig pointed to the Koopa clown car that was resting on the ground. We'll take that thing and investigate it. Good idea, Iggy replied. So Iggy, along with his siblings and Celia, hopped in the Koopa clown car and flew up to the giant stadium of death. Yes, I'm going to keep doing that. With a little bit of searching, they were able to find an entrance to the thing. After a little bit of discussion, Iggy nervously steered the clown car into the monstrous structure. The structure was completely empty and dark. The only light was coming from a spotlight that was shining down in the middle of the room. Iggy landed the clown copter underneath the spotlight, allowing everyone to get down. And what is this place? Morgan asked as he apprehensively looked around. Only the coolest place ever. Iggy practically jumped at the sound of an unknown voice. Who said that? Suddenly, a floating podium came in view, and on that podium stood Starlit Duck! What a twist! Yeah, not really, if you actually read this part. Yes. She inserted herself back in the story.
A little tricky Mary Sue, dirty, red-haired girl.
That's right, it's me, Starlit Duck said cheerfully. It certainly is nice to see you against Koopalings. It's also very nice to see you brought my OC with you. Iggy turned to Celia. She was staring at Saw with her mouth hanging open, confusion acting as a very noticeable mask. Who is she? She asked Iggy. Iggy was about to answer when Star let out a hearty and someone maniacally laughed. Well, I'm your creator, Celia, she said. She flipped her mousy brown hair over her shoulder. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Not redhead, brunette, auburn sounding hair girl.
I would have expected that you would be ecstatic to see me. Celia still looked confused. The others weren't very much better. Why in the world? Why are you in her world? Star, let me ask. Oh, no reason, Star said nonchalantly. I just wanted to have you guys compete in a death match for my own. Is this SMG4? Is she a fan of SMG? Star, I gotta ask. Are you an SMG4 fan? Because this looks strange. This sounds strangely similar to an episode of SMG4. Which episode was that? It was the one where basically SMG3 literally dragged some of the SMG4 characters into like an arena. So you're gonna fight to the death, my own amusement. Why? Because I'm bored. That's why. Roy snickered. A death match? He looked at the group and said, Star, have you seen me next to this guys? I can take him easily. Star burst into laughter, as if Roy had said the most hysterical thing ever. Iggy didn't know whether to be worried or uncomfortable, so he decided to just swallow the lump in his throat and feel both. Silly Roy, Star said when she finally calmed down. I don't want you to fight each other. And who do you want us to fight? Larry asked. Star smiled in a way that did look genuinely sincere. Let me tell you guys a story, she said. She used her platform to roam over the group. Once upon a time, there was lived a girl. This girl loved to write, and she also loved to play video games. Specifically, the video games from the Mario series. She loved the Mario series so much that she wanted to create a cartoon based off it. Ludwig rolled his eyes. Let me guess. That little girl is you? You are very perceptive, Ludwig. Yes, that young girl was me. I love the Mario series so much that I wanted to create a cartoon for it. This cartoon would be different. You see, it wouldn't focus on Mario himself. Instead, it was focused on someone different, someone more colorful. Understanding flashed across Iggy's mind. Us? No, Princess Peach. What do you think? The story's called The Super Koopalings for nothing. Ta-da. He asked. Star nodded. Yes, Iggy, you guys. Star was still smiling, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. Now, at this point, I do not believe that my dream can come into fruition. At least, not entirely. The sadness evaporated. Nevertheless, I still built upon my dream. I gave you guys personalities. I built a world that you can inhabit, adventures that you can go on. Star's eyes twinkled. In fact, I even selected voice actors for you guys. Um,
What?
um, I'm. Are you? Are you Star? Are you sad that you wanted to make it a cartoon? Is this true? Like you wanted to actually make a web series of these guys? And you even had the voice actors. If so, can I join? Or am I? Let's get back. Voice actors, asked Larry. Yes, indeed, Larry. Voice actors. Star giggled. These voice actors are all experienced veterans who have voiced tons of other characters. Now Iggy felt confused, and based on the look the others were making, they felt the same way. And what does it have to do with the deathmatch you were talking about? He asked. Star grinned wickedly as the lights of the stadiums came on. I'm glad you asked, Iggy. You see, I cannot you battle the voice actors themselves. That would be ludicrous. So I was thinking, why don't I have you guys battle the characters that these people have voiced? Iggy turned to where Star was pointing. He could see 6 people standing on one side of the stadium. Considering that they had their face concealed by masks, Iggy couldn't make out their facial features. However, he could see that they were all varying heights and builds. Of course, if you guys don't want to do it, I can destroy your world via the power of plot convenience. Iggy felt fear strike his heart. What? He cried along with everyone else. You can't be serious. I'm not serious. Star said, I've been playing this fight for a while. I even rented a floating stadium of death for crying out loud. Iggy exchanged look with everyone before turning back to Star with determination. We'll do it, he said. Star giggled. Actually, Iggy, not all of you are going to do it. You and Morton will set this one out. Why? Morton asked. Star chuckled with embarrassment. You see, I've been kind of having trouble finding voice actors for you too, she said. Iggy sighed. I mean, for Morton, you could have just had someone who talks a lot. Like, Vic Mignogna? I swear to God, if it turns out Vic is actually one of the voice actors, I'm gonna smack myself. Fine, we'll set this one out. Star smiled gratefully. Thanks, guys, she said. Okay, everybody, line up. The Koopalings and Celia all got in a line. Star winced when she saw that Roy and Celia were standing together. Oh, sorry, Roy, she said, but I'm afraid I'm gonna have Lemmy fight with Celia. What? Roy said, why can I fight with her? Because, Star said with a sly grin, Lemmy and Celia share the same voice actor. Tara Strong? Wait. It has to be Tara Strong. She's the only one I could think of. Does that mean we're going to get a pony? If it's Tara Strong, we're probably going to get Twilight. Either Twilight, Raven, or Bubbles. I don't know if Star actually saw Powerpuff Girls. I don't know about Bubbles. And we'll see. Celia and Lemmy gasped. We do? Awesome, said Lemmy. I never would have guessed. I mean, we sound so different. Star chuckled. Yeah, you guys' voice actress is a very experienced one. It's Tara Strong. It has to be Tara Strong. She has voiced more characters than you can shake a stick at, but to make it fair, I will only have you guys fight against two of them. As for the rest of you, you will each fight against one character whose voice actor you share. Ludwig smirked. Well, unless my guy has superpowers, I don't see this being a fair fight, he said. Oh, you'd be surprised, Ludwig. Okay, everyone, get in positions. Iggy and Morton went to sit in the audience surrounding the arena. Everyone else got into their fighting position as they faced their opponents. Star grinned. It's showtime. Da da da. Iggy turned towards Morton, looking a little frightened. I got a bad feeling about this, Morton, he said. I know, he said. Morton said solemnly. Iggy looked Star, let out a maniacal laugh. I'm sorry if I'm sorry, Star. I'm giving you a snort. It's just I'm trying to think of the most over the top, obnoxious, maniacal laughter I could think of, and that's what I get. And suddenly, the arena was surrounded by a force field. The rules are simple, Koopalings. You have to knock your opponent out of the ring. Whichever team knocks out all 6 opposing members first wins the tournament. Also, to make things more interesting, Star pointed to a corner in the arena. Iggy could see a boss Rexing on the floor. I set aside a box of items for you guys. You can access them at any point during the fight, Star grinned, her eyes glittering like celestial bodies she was named after. Now, are you ready? Yes, the Koopalings, Cecilia shouted. Then, let us begin. With that, the others rushed forward. Iggy watched Larry, who was closest to him, rush towards his opponent while calling out his battle cry. Sorry. I mean, Larry! When he and his opponent met in the middle of the ring, Larry stopped. Okay, he said. What do we got going on here? Larry's opponent removed their mask. And Iggy stared. She appeared to be a young girl, no more than 6 years in age. She had humongous eyes that were... Okay, so Star is a Powerpuff Girls fan. Gotcha. They were green in color and her hair was slick and black. She grinned as her gray outfit faded away, revealing a green dress with a black stripe running through the midsection. She grinned sadistically at her opponent. The name's Buttercup, bucko, she said, and you are so dead. Buttercup? Larry asked in confusion. Wait, you're a girl? Does that mean I'm a voice by a girl? Yep. You're about to be beaten by... Wait a minute. Tara Strong voice Buttercup? Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I just looked up Buttercup's voice actress. It's like, there's no way it could be Tara Strong. And it turned out it's not. So, who's... No, that's Lemmy. That's Larry, not Larry. Alright, so... Alright, so... Let's move on. Let's see. As Buttercup flew at Larry, Iggy directed his attention towards Ludwig, who was eyeing his opponent curiously. So, he said, you and I are voiced by the same guy. You bet, said Ludwig's opponent. He removed his mask, revealing a young, tan-skinned man. He looked about 18 years in age. Grammar error right there. And his ebony black hair reached down to his shoulders. He was wearing a pair of shiny aquamarine earrings, and when his gray outfit faded away, it revealed a regal red robe. The man grinned arrogantly. The name's Coop. Oh my. Really? Cusco? I can't even. I can't. 5 out of 5 just for surprise Cusco. I'm kidding. But surprise Cusco. Oh, that's funny. Emperor Cusco. Ludwig narrowed his eyes. Really, he said incredulously. You had to say your name twice. I find it makes you look more imposing. With that, Cusco slapped a golden headdress-like crown on his head. He curled his hands into fists, smiling the whole time. Okay, let's do this. What is Cusco just gonna like dance with him? Or is he gonna or is he gonna pull vials out of his ass? Like, I mean, that's the only way I can see Cusco actually fighting. Ludwig studied his opponent. He's incredulously groaning with each passing moment. You're scrawny! Do you really seriously believe you can beat me in a fight? Cusco chuckled as he pulled out a bot. Yeah, it's the vials. Filled with a magenta substance out of his pack. Oh, ye of your little fate, he said before he swallowed the potion. He was enveloped in a cloud of magenta smoke. When it cleared, Ludwig gasped. In Cusco's place stood a red Godzilla-like creature. He swung his tail, sending Ludwig careening to the floor. He stood up angrily as blue flames encircled his body, and he flew towards his opponent. Wait, red Godzilla-like. What did he turn into? Did he turn into a king? No, not a kangaroo. Godzilla probably. Iggy then focused his attention towards Lemmy and Celia, who were eyeing both of their opponents with intrigue. So, these are our opponents, Celia asked. A total of 2 opponents removed their masks. Underneath the mask stood a teenage girl about 16 in age. Her hair was it's Raven. It's Tara Strong, which means either the other opponent is either Bubbles or Twilight Sparkle. It has to be one of them. And you already did the Powerpuff Girls, so I'm going to guess Twilight. If only to make reference to Death Battle. Her hair was violet in color, her skin a chalky white. In the center of her forehead was a red rhombus shaped indescribable origin. When her outfit faded away, it was replaced by a black leotard and a dark blue cloak. Then the shorter opponent removed her mask. She was a 6-year-old Bubbles. She was a 6-year-old girl who wore her blonde pigtails, her eyes were sky blue, and she wore a dress that was the same color. Well, said Lemmy, you guys look different. Don't let our differences fool you, said the older girl with a stoic, indifferent inflection. We both come from a team of very powerful superheroes. I'm Raven, of the Teen Titans, and I'm Bubbles of the I was seriously expecting the pony. You already had the Powerpuff Girl. I was expecting the pony. But still, Bubbles. Nice. But then again, I'm pretty sure Twilight would just be... No, you have Raven. Raven's already broken enough as it is. It wouldn't be surprising if you just have Twilight talking about friendship with him. She has like a baseball bat and said, I will make you fear love and tolerance. And I'm Bubbles of the Powerpuff Girl, said the other girl. We'll be your ridiculously overpowered opponents this evening, said Raven. I mean, Raven's not wrong. As she said this, she pulled the hood of her cloak up, concealing the top of her face in a very dark shadow. Lemmy looked a little nervous. When you say ridiculously overpowered, exactly what do you mean? Well, for starters, said Raven as she closed her eyes, I can do this. When Raven opened her eyes, they were glowing a threatening red. Black tentacles shot out from the fold of her... Oh, you're doing, Trigon-controlled Raven. Alright, nice. Aiming for Lemmy and Celia. Thankfully, they both managed to dodge. Bubbles giggled as she started to fly around. Fun, fun, she said in her sweet, high-pitched voice. Iggy noticed that Wendy was staring at her opponent down with bravery. Her opponent removed her mask, revealing a teenage girl whose body was made entirely of fire. Entirely made of fire. I'm trying to remember. I know there's a character I know of that's has that, but I can't remember what her name was. Okay, what are you supposed to be? Wendy asked. The name's Flint. Oh, it's Flame Princess. Adventure time! Said the girl. I'm from the land of Ooh. Wendy laughed. Ooh, the land of Ooh. Haha, funny, Flame Princess said sarcastically. Haven't heard that one before. With that, she lunged at Wendy, who used her rings as shields. Iggy then turned his direction to Roy, who was dealing with. Roy's opponent removed his mask, revealing a nerdy-looking man in orange. Really? Just really? Vector? Just why? Why? This went from a 5 out of 5 with Kuso to a 0 out of 5 because of Vector. Vector's garbage. In my opinion, he was the worst part of Despicable Me. That's sad when the bad guy is the worst part of that movie. Really, he said as he turned to Star. I'm voiced by the person... I'm doing Ludwig. I'm voiced by the person who stole this voice is this guy. Roy's opponent laughed. My name is Vector, buddy, he said. Maybe you heard of me. I saw the pyramid, the one in Giza. I don't care where you went to high school. That's true. Smart. Roy said, I'm still going to beat you. Vector laughed. Then why don't you stop talking and start fighting? And with that, the tournament was officially underway. Yep. Oh, you're doing the 26... Oh, my God. Doing the 2016 version of Pop Girls. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, if you were going to do the Powerpuff Girls, like, seriously, you could just... Oh, my God, why is this loading? Hold on, I want to load these pages up. Okay. Iggy watched the fight unfold, intrigued by the action. The two people who he focused on most were Larry and Buttercup. Buttercup appeared to have a wide variety of superpowers, such as super strength, heat vision, and flight. One would think that would be a problem for Larry, but his quick and agile reflexes allowed him to dodge Buttercup's attacks. That was until Buttercup locked her arms tightly around her opponent. Larry struggled to get free, but was unsuccessful. He grunted as Buttercup tightened her grip, nearly choking the air out of him. You know, Larry said with a strained gasping voice, I think you look really weird. Buttercup smirked. I'll take that as a compliment coming from a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reject. That's actually a nice burn. Larry opened his eyes in shock. Iggy knew that he hated being made fun of, and the fact that the insult was coming out of the mouth of a 6-year-old girl only made the blow worse. He screamed at the top of his lungs and flung Buttercup to the ground, consequently getting out of her hold in the process. Unfortunately, Buttercup fired a blast of heat vision into Larry's direction and pinned him to the ground. She laughed sadistically as Larry struggled to shake off the weight of their foot standing on his chest. Any last words before you lose, she asked. Larry looked at the force field surrounding the arena. Then he grinned mischievously. Yeah, he said, catch me if you can. Larry went into a shell. He spun around the perimeter of where Buttercup stood and then rocketed toward the force field. Buttercup gawked. Hey, get back here! Buttercup started to fly after Larry, but Larry did not stop. He seemed to be getting faster and faster. Buttercup accelerated as well, grinning wickedly. Then, at the last moment, Larry zoomed to the left, barely missing the force field. Unfortunately for Buttercup, she was going too fast to slow down. No, 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 no! She screamed as she attempted to halt. Before she could stop, she rammed into the force field. When she hit the shiny translucent surface, she seemed to disintegrate. While Larry himself felt a little horrified, Star Luke looked exuberant. And she's out! Larry stopped and got out of his shell, grinning from ear to ear. Despite his horror upon seeing Buttercup disintegrate, Iggy clapped for his brother. Larry's competitive nature made it very hard for the youngest Koopaling to lose. Now that Larry has long, he gets to sit and watch the tournament with Iggy and Morton, said Star. A bright light surrounded Larry, and the youngest Koopaling was teleported into the bleachers. Larry grinned at Iggy and Morton Iggy returned the expression. Larry, you won, said Morton exclaimed. Heck yeah, I did, said Larry. Then he looked a little worried. But what happened to Buttercup? Star laughed. Since Buttercup lost, she gets to view the rest of the fight from the loser's seat. Iggy looked where Star was pointing and saw that Buttercup was now residing in a glass capsule above the arena. She glared at the 3 Koopalings who were sitting in the bleachers. Larry smirked at her. What were you saying about me being beaten by a girl? He yelled at her. In response, Buttercup blew a raspberry at her. Larry giggled, and so did Star. The score is now 1-0 in favor of the Koopalings, Star announced. She focused her attention back towards the arena. Now, let's see how the others are faring. That's an interesting tidbit. Emperor's New Groove is my favorite movie of all time. Mine is Jurassic Park. Thank you very much. Iggy looked towards Ludwig, who was battling out with the humongous monster that had previously been a skinny teenage emperor. Ludwig fired a bunch of fireballs in Cusco's direction. A few missed, but the majority of them hit their intended target. Unfortunately, the fireballs did not make that big of an impact. That was until Cusco opened his mouth and roared at his opponent. Ludwig clearly could not skip out on an opportunity like this, so he fired a bright ball of blue flame. Oh, he's a T-Rex. So he fired a bright blue ball of blue flame. Get up! Bright ball of blue flame direct. Stop! Bright ball of blue flame. There we go. Getting to Ludwig. Directly into his opposition's mouth. Cusco yelped as he put his hand to his lips, clearly in pain. Then his eyes sealed with rays, and he shot his hand forward and grabbed hold of the blue-haired special. Ludwig struggled to get free, but Cusco's grip was too strong. The young emperor stared at the eldest Koopaling menacingly, his eyes glowing with both arrogance. Then Cusco let out another yelp as Ludwig's body was surrounded by blue flames. Cusco dropped Ludwig so he could hold his throbbing, burnt hand. He glared at the special. "Ow," he said. "That hurt." "Ah, dang it," Ludwig said with a sardonic inflection as he floated in the air. "I was trying to make it tickle." Ludwig blew up and punched Cusco in the jaw. When he did, a bunch of potion vials fell to the ground, making twinkling sounds as they landed. Cusco and Ludwig exchanged a quick look before rushing towards the potions. Unfortunately for Cusco, he accidentally stepped on one. He was enveloped in another cloud of magenta smoke. Iggy could hear him coughing up a storm, and when the smoke cleared, he could see that Cusco was in his human form again. Cusco examined his hands in shock. He turned towards Ludwig, about to make a cyber bark, but Ludwig fired an electric bolt on him. It knocked him straight into the ground, making his golden crown fly off Clara's head. Ludwig smiled smugly as he picked up a potion. What do we got here?" he asked as he read the label. "Oh, extract the llama." Cusco's eyes grew wide with horror. "Oh no," he said. "Don't you dare! Don't you dare!" Before Cusco could finish the sentence, Ludwig threw the vial at him. The young emperor was surrounded by even more magenta smoke, and when it cleared, Iggy stifled back a giggle. Cusco had been turned into a red-furred llama with a black-furred neck. Cusco looked at his hooves. "Dang it," he said. He turned towards Ludwig. "You know, I really don't appreciate that." Ludwig smirked. "You say that like I'm supposed to care." Ludwig's eyes glowed white as the blue fire wrapped around his hands like a glove. He fired a blast of fire at Cusco. The forcing impact sent him flying backwards, right into the force field. "And he's out," Star announced. "That's one more point for the Koopalings." Ludwig whooped with delight. Iggy looked up and could see that Cusco had appeared in one of the glass castles levitating above the stadium. He was still in his llama form, which Iggy could tell he was not happy about. "Oh, come on!" he yelled at them, the Koopalings. "If you're going to get me out, the least you could do is change me back first." Alex surrounded Ludwig, and he was teleported into the audience. Iggy smiled at him. "Nice work." "Yeah," said Larry. "You beat that barn animal's butt." Ludwig smiled and directed his attention towards the opponent. "Hey, you guys enjoying the view up there?" he yelled to Cusco and Buttercup. Both of them looked annoyed. In fact, Buttercup was on the brink of anger. To direct everyone's attention away from those two, Star decided to speak up. "The Koopalings now lead 2-0, she announced. She looked down at Roy and Vector, who were in the middle of a fistfight, and I have a feeling that things are going to get interesting. Egan, Morton, and Larry and Ludwig looked at Roy battling out with Victor. Roy threw a punch, but... A punch? Okay. But Victor dodged it. Victor threw a punch, but Roy dodged that. And Roy did an uppercut punch in the director of Victor's stomach, making a direct hit. Victor held his midsection and grimaced in pain. And he looked at Roy menacingly, joining back a guttural laugh. "That was good, Turtle Man," he said. "But let's see how you like the taste of this." From behind his back, Victor pulled out a shiny turquoise ray gun. Roy ducked at him as the ray powered up. "Is that a shrink ray?" "Oh yeah!" Victor fired a blast at Roy, who immediately shrunk down to a few inches tall. Victor smiled wickedly and kicked Roy out of the ring. Star laughed as Roy showed up in the glass case capsule up above. "Wow, looks like Ray got the short end of the stick. Point goes to the challengers." From up in her castle, Buttercup laughed at Roy. "Oh yeah, you guys got wrecked," she said. Cusco stared at her in bafflement. "Wrecked?" he asked. "Did you seriously just say wrecked?" Buttercup turned towards him ambivalently. "It came from a weird show, right?" "Yes, a show that could be defined as
Forking.
Star laughed. The score is 2-1 in favor of the Koopaling," she said with a chuckle. "At this point, I have no idea who could win." Iggy watched as Vector got transported into the audience on the other side of the stadium. He sat in the front row, so he kicked up his feet and got into a relaxed position. As he watched him, Iggy felt a pit in his stomach. He hoped that Wendy, Lemmy, and Celia found a way to win against their opponents. "Bubbles, get behind their back," Iggy heard Raven said. He turned and saw Bubbles float back to back against Raven. Raven closed her eyes. "Azeroth, Metreon, Zenthos!" "Yes, I don't know how to do that," she cried. Iggy could not believe his eyes. Raven was surrounded by a field of dark energy. It was in the strange shape of a very large, very frightening outline of a raven. Larry pointed at Lemmy and Celia, and the energy shot towards them. Thankfully, both of them could manage to dodge, but even then, only barely. Iggy gulped back a lump forming in his throat. How in the world would Lemmy and Celia be able to win against someone who could do something like that? If Irving decided to do that again, her opponents were toast for sure. Perhaps Wendy would have more luck with Flame Princess. Iggy hoped that was the case, so Iggy decided to focus his attention on the two of them instead. He saw Wendy facing her opponent, a determined, aggressive glare. Wendy was determined to prove herself against this fiery contender. Iggy decided to offer her some emotional support. Woohoo! Go, Wendy! He cried out. Yeah, you got this, girl! Larry called out in the seat next to Iggy. Wendy cast a quick grin towards the others. Then she flung one of her rings at Flame Princess. It sailed towards her, but Flame Princess was quick enough to dodge. As the ring bounced against the floor, Wendy decided to use the other one. She flung it against Flame Princess's skin, which proved to be a mistake. The heat emanating from the Flame Princess's body was so intense that Wendy's golden bracelet instantly melted when it touched her. That meant that Wendy did not have any weapons at her disposal, and Flame Princess was quick to take advantage of this. She slapped Wendy across the face, sending her flying. That's no ordinary slap. That's a big slap of righteousness. That had to hurt. Being big slapped so hard you get sent flying. And she's out, Star called out. Iggy felt his heart sink like a stone in water. He heard Larry start to call out boo noises at Flame Princess as she appeared next to Victor in the audience. Wendy appeared in one of the castles floating above the stadium. Buttercup laughed when she saw her. Yeah, boy, she said, you guys are getting pwned. Cusco cast her and glared. Okay, seriously? You need to... Yes. Yes, Buttercup. I pray you don't twerk. Please don't. Just don't. I swear to God. Star, if you make Buttercup twerk, I will lose all respect for you as an author. Okay, seriously, you need to stop talking, he said. Roy shook his head and turned towards his sister. Wendy, seriously? Beating your opponent in a deathmatch is not that hard. At least it's not as hard as multiply by tens. Cusco looked at Roy with incredulity. Nice, he said. I should introduce you to my friend Kronk sometimes. You two would get along. You're both idiots! Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Iggy shook his head as Emperor Sarky remarked, and then focused on Lemmy and Celia. Now the entire deathmatch was riding on them being successful. Iggy prayed from the bottom of his heart that they would be. Yes, they would be. Celia and Lemmy were visibly freaked out, and Iggy didn't blame them in the slightest. After all, Raven had said that both she and Bubbles were superheroes. I mean, so was Buttercup, but Buttercup's from that inferior Powerpuff Girls. And based on the powers they display, well, let's just say that Celia and Lemmy were in over their heads. What are we gonna do now? Lemmy whispered to Celia in fright. Celia looked frightened as well. I don't know, she said. Iggy started to feel nervous just watching them. They had to win. They just had to. But how could they? Hey, Stars called out. Need I remind you guys of the box of powers I set aside for you? I mean... Yes, but what demands it? Lemmy and Celia's faces instantly brightened. Oh, right, Lemmy said. They rushed towards the box and started rummaging around. Iggy saw Celia pull out multiple items, from a spring mushroom to a flood pack. Flood pack? I mean... Really? Come on, she said. There has to be... Yes! Celia pulled out 2 power-ups from the crate, an ice flower and a fire flower. She put the fire flower in the pocket of her hoodie, and she activated the ice flower. Her skin, clothes, and hair changed and resembled an ice statue. Oh, Lemmy exclaimed. However, he wasn't doing it because of Celia's change in appearance. Celia, look! My circus ball! Lemmy looked extremely giddy as he held up his yellow ball with orange sauce. It looked like he had come across a friend that he hadn't encountered in a decade or so. So, I mean... I don't think it's actually been in a story yet. Awesome, Celia said, but how is that going to help us? Lemmy thought about this before he dove back into the box. He resurfaced with a Magic Koopa wand in his hand. He then whispered in Celia's ear, and once he was done, Celia looked really excited. Ooh, good thinking. Lemmy grinned and hopped onto the ball. Celia took the wand and chanted an incantation. When she was done, the ball grew about 3 times its normal size. Lemmy giggled like a maniac. This is gonna be awesome, he shouted. So, balancing on top of the ball, Lemmy started to roll around the arena. Raven fired blasts of dark energy at him, but he maneuvered out of the way. Bubbles tried to push him back, but what ultimately happened was that Lemmy ran her over with the ball. Fortunately, unfortunately, depending on your point of view, Bubbles was not as severely hurt. She started firing I-beams at Lemmy. While she missed Lemmy herself, she did manage to hit the ball, causing it to burst. Lemmy fell to the ground. Oh no, he cried in dismay. Don't worry, Lemons, Celia said as she started to skate towards her opponent. I got your back. Celia threw a snowball at Bubbles, causing her to be encased in a block of frigid ice. Celia grinned as she kicked Bubbles straight out of the ring. And she's out, Star called. Iggy looked up and saw Bubbles appear in a castle. He smiled in satisfaction. We might actually emerge victorious, he thought. Lemmy and Celia must have been thinking the same thing because as they faced Raven, they were both smiling confidently. That was until Raven's helm was surrounded by a black aura. Iggy could see that Lemmy was surrounded by the same energy. He gasses Raven telekinetically through the little scoopling out of the wing. That's cheap. Now I know why I didn't pick Twilight. Because she would just do that to everyone. No, Iggy cried as Lemmy appeared in the castle above. Now it was up to Celia. Oh no. I got a lot of inspiration from the Teen Titans. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. This is the final showdown. One goth girl versus one Koopa girl. Place your bets. Come on, Celia. Roy heard Iggy roar out from his castle. You can do it! Iggy hoped that Roy was correct. As he watched Celia and Raven battle out in the arena, he had an extremely nagging feeling, though. It was eating at his stomach, chewing at his mind. It was worry. Worry that Celia would not emerge victorious. Come on, Iggy whispered to himself, almost as if he had believed he could telepathically communicate his message to Celia. Speaking of Celia, she and Raven were really going all out. Celia's ice flower had worn up, so now she had activated the fire flower that she had in her pocket. Her sweatshirt was white, her normally blue jeans were now a fire red engine red. She fired a blast of fire at Raven, who made a shield out of the dark energy she was known for. Then Raven faced Celia while gritting her teeth. Azeroth Metreon Zinthos, she cried. She telekinetically leapt to Celia, clearly prepared to throw her out of the ring. This cost Iggy the glass. Thankfully, Celia had a counterattack. She threw a firewall at her opponent. Now that Raven didn't have a shield, she screeched in pain and collapsed out of the air to the ground. She growled at her opponent, her eyes glowing red. Nice effort, she said. Unfortunately, he won't save you in the long run. Raven threw bolts of dark lightning at Celia. Celia managed to dodge a majority of them, but Raven was throwing the bolts at such an alarming rate that, unfortunately, dodging all of them was impossible. The power of deactivation noise ran out against the stadium, and Celia groaned as she laid face down on the floor. No! Cried Roy. Iggy looked up and could see the Roy decorating his face. Buttercup was laughing maniacally. Oh yeah, Raven, you can do this. Yeah, Flame Princess called from her place in the audience. Give them everything you got. Come on, Celia, Lemmy cried. You can still win this thing. Iggy looked towards Sarah and could see she was enduring an engaged, interested smile. This is really heating up now, she said. Iggy could see that Star was correct. Raven's hands were surrounded by a dark aura. Her eyes and face emanated evil. Celia managed to get up and run towards the power-up box. Fortunately, she didn't find anything in there that could help her in the long run. Come on, Raven said to her. Can we please hurry this up? I was right in the middle of a fight with my demon father, so I'm kind of pressured for time. Wait, demon? Celia asked in shock. Your father is a demon? Yep. Raven replied as she fired another blast at Celia. Celia got out of the way just in the nick of time. But you don't look like a demon. Celia told Raven, I'm not. I'm a Cambrion, a demon-human hybrid. Celia's eyes grew wide with realization and wonder. Whoa. So you're like me? The dark energy surrounding Raven's eyes vanished, as well as a red light in her eyes. How so? She asked. Well, I'm half Koopa. I'm also a hybrid, said Celia. You don't say, said Raven. A tiny smile appeared on her face. You know, it's kind of nice knowing there are other people like me in the world. Celia smiled. You can say that again. Raven looked like she found a nice long lost relative, and Celia looked the same way. Unfortunately, they didn't have time to get mushy because Star cleared her throat from up on Arpedian. Ladies, can you hurry this up? The nearest Dairy Queen closed in half an hour. God dang it. I don't want Dairy Queen. We're going to Dairy Queen. Raven looked at Star. Then her eyes traveled to Celia. You know what, she said? I think you guys deserve to win. She floated over to the edge of the arena and turned to Celia. Come push me out of the ring. What? But what about your team? Don't you guys want to win? Nah, she said. Raven said nonchalantly. We don't really care. Especially seeing how Star is holding up against her will. Celia smiled, and then she lightly pushed Raven into the force field. And she's out. Aww. Iggy looked up and saw Raven and Kessel. He smiled happily as the force field around the arena vanished. Star's expression was equally joyous. The Koopalings win the tournament. Iggy smiled as he watched Celia standing in the middle of the arena. They won! They actually won! Star laughed giddily as she floated into the arena and shook Celia by hand. Congratulations! She said as she looked at the fiery red-haired hybrid. I know I created you for a reason. Thanks? Celia said in response. Star snapped her fingers, causing the force field around the arena to disappear. The characters who had been put in the glass container were also released. When he was placed gently back on the ground, Roy ran over to Celia and wrapped her in a gigantic hug. That was awesome, he said. You totally destroyed Raven. I mean, Raven just gave up. Yeah, I did, she said. Iggy saw her cast a glance towards at Raven, who gave her a smile and a wink. Alright, good game, everybody, Star said as she got back on her floating platform. Now it's time for everybody to go home. Star snapped her fingers again, and 6 different portals appeared. She smiled at the opposing team. Okay, guys, she said. See you around. See ya, Victor said as he jumped into the portal leading back to his homeworld. Flame Princess gave a little wave and also jumped into her respective portal. Buttercup, on the other hand, just floated in the air with her arms crossed and a grumpy expression. I can't believe I lost, she said, to a boy. Larry laughed as he approached her. It's only because I'm awesome, he said with a smile. If I wasn't, there's a slight possibility you may have had a shot. Buttercup stuck her tongue out before flying into the portal. On the other side of the stadium, Ludwig opposed Cusco, who looked grumpy. Ludwig smiled at him. Well, he said, say it. Say that I won. Cusco sighed. You won. Darn right I did. Well, I got to say, a pretty good opponent. Cusco smiled. Darn right I was. Ludwig laughed before pulling 2 things out of his hammer space. Cusco's crown and a vial of Magenta pension. Oh, before you go, you might as well take this. He handed Cusco his crown. Then he uncapped the vial, and you might want to drink this. Cusco took the vial and gulped it down. He was surrounded by magenta smoke, and when it cleared, he was in his human form again. He smiled. Now that's something I can appreciate, he said. He said as he started to walk towards his portal. See you later, blue hair. Catch you later, Cusco. Emperor Cusco. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I have to admit, it's actually pretty cute. Cusco jumped into his portal. Across the stadium, Lemmy and Celia were saying goodbye to Bubbles and Raven. See you guys later, Lemmy said with a grin in Bubbles' direction. It was nice fighting you. Bubbles giggled in a cute fashion. It was nice fighting you too, she said before she zipped into her portal. That just left Raven as the last person to say goodbye to. You were a good fighter, Raven. Thanks, Raven said. She allowed a tiny smile. You know it'd be nice? What? You come visit my world sometime. Mario Teen Titans crossover went. Although we might have to keep you away from Beast Boy. Celia laughed. If I get the chance, I would love to come to World. Seriously. Mario Teen Titans crossover when? Seriously. Want that to happen. I will pay you $1. Raven smiled in Celia's direction before jumping into the portal. Iggy breathed out a sigh. While the fights were fun to watch, on some level he was glad that they were over. Well, that was fun, he said. It certainly was, said Star as she approached Iggy. I hope you have another dream like this so we can meet again. Iggy looked at Star in confusion. What? Iggy slowly opened his eyes. He saw that he was back in his room. He looked around in confusion before he remembered the last scene that Starlight sucked at him. It was all a dream. Iggy took a moment to let this sink in. Then he laughed and went to join his siblings for breakfast. That's the story. It's not bad. I give it a 3 out of 5. It's actually kind of cute. I mean, I like the whole meta-ness. I like the whole meta-ness of the story. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. That's the whole point of the story. Not supposed to be taken seriously. And I was like, pure humor story. It's not bad. I did like the little joke with Cusco at the goodbye, Cusco, Emperor Cusco. I didn't like that. It wasn't funny the entire story. Like it didn't. I mean, I think honestly, I can kind of maybe see like the only thing I would change was probably extend the fights themselves and add more humorous elements into them. Like that would be it. And also seriously, Teen Titans Mario crossover when. Seriously, I want that to happen. Please let that happen. So that's my reading of Acting in the Arena. I'd give it a 3. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I would change was extend the fights a little bit to make them more humorous. Maybe add more stuff involving the characters themselves. Or hell, you could have Star running commentary on like who voices them and then all their accolades and stuff like that. Maybe some like little tidbits. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So that is. So I'm Dark Symphony 777, and cut.